Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Alliance of Performance Shop, Lone Star, Mopars.com. Sunday fun day. It is exactly 6 p.m., 91 degrees. If you hear a fan in the background, sorry, not sorry. It's hot in here. So, what we've got going on, I'm trying to get this wrapped up so I can get back and check out Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Spoiler alert, I was actually at the home opener for the Thunder this season, so you might be able to guess who I'm pulling for, but that said, it's kind of sad. I've had this sitting here. This is one of those new and pertinent things, and I'm trying to get it done while it's still somewhat new and pertinent for you. And I think you're going to enjoy it, and it's something that we haven't really hit on. I'll tell you right now, timestamps, links, they're all down below. I'm going to try. I just painstakingly spent probably 20 minutes discerning the difference between some of these, and I'm going to try to outline that for you. If you don't care about that, you probably don't need to watch the back end of the video. But what you do need to see is right here. So, anytime you place an order at KC Tool, you receive the bit of things. It's currently shipping conveniently, for a nice segue, as a number 2 Phillips from Wera. Again, spend $1,000, spend $1, you're going to get a bit of things. If you hit 75 bucks, you get free freight. If you hit the magical $100 threshold, you're going to achieve greatness that comes in the way of the mystery sticker. That's right, German tool sticker pack, long tenured. You probably got tons of them. One of the reasons they switched is still available. You know, like if you're new to KC Tool and you're like, man, I really would have liked that whole sticker pack. You can go buy it. It's still there. But you're going to get the mystery sticker. The mystery sticker, I've got my checklist here, and believe it or not, despite all the mystery stickers we have acquired, duplicates shown down below, we're still missing some. Right? Like we've never had Hazet, Knipex, or KC Tool, or interestingly enough, Wera. So we're gonna open this one up now. Let's be fair here. What am I feeling? Is it an ox head? I'll just try to speed this up, and I'm gonna guess that it's not wanting to come out. That's usually what that one does. This is the checklist. Actually, it was throwing me off. Every pack will have a checklist. If you're curious, like, you're not special to get that, it's in the bag if you missed it. This does have a sticker in it, doesn't it? Jeez. It's down there. Okay. I've got so many of these bags. Oh, I nailed it. Look at that. So, before I get too far in front of myself, I need to document. You know what? No, I don't. I'll set it off to the side and remind me to do that. Hopefully, as long as I leave that sticker out, I should know what to do with it. But this particular tool haul, which I'm very well may expedite for you, is one of those rare occasions. If I keep this in the archive, ready to go, even waiting behind the snap-on stuff that we need to hit 10,000 subscribers for, which if you want to see that and you haven't subscribed, please, I beg of you. That's creating a bottleneck, and stuff that was pertinent there is just, it's 2 years in the future now, so literally June of 23 is when that stuff started. But that aside, I do think I will be courteous and front load this one for you. It could somewhat be under the radar for you. I don't know about you, but I don't have time to be on social media, so if companies don't email, I'm oblivious to it. Okay, Knipex could go have like a brand new product launch, which I think they're doing maybe around July 1st. How do I know these things? Of all channels and avenues, Japanese YouTube. That's right, good times. German tools, Japanese, yeah, you know. This is what I do at 2 a.m., you know, when I have free time. But there's kind of a really cool, I'm pretty excited about one of the things they've got coming. But that's another story. Bottom line, Wera recently released a ton of new stuff, and I kind of, probably get thrown rocks for saying this, but I kind of think they botched it because some of the stuff has never come in. Like, I'm up at night, that's when my free time is, I check stock, it's just never shown up. The rest of it, like, if it was there, it must have been in, like, extremely limited stock. Some of it, like it said, 2. You know, KC Tool, they do the stock tracker beside it. You know, it's out of stock, back orderable, manufacturer back order, and then if it's not, it'll be, like, 2 through 9. And if there's more than 10, it says 10 plus. There were very few things that said 10 plus. And one of those things, though, turned out to be Tool of the Day. This goes back to June 9th, magical June 9th, Tool of the Day here. And this will be the first time kind of mind-boggling when you think about this, but the first time one of these styled kits has graced the channel, at least that I can think of. And this is a German tool essential. This is something many people worship. One of the first things a lot of people pick up. I never did, and I'm not gonna lie, if this was not on Tool of the Day, I don't think I still would own the thing. And what it is this right here, tiny little box, and you're thinking, huh, it kind of looks like some tiny little gimmicky thing. Is that a tool check? Yeah, and you're thinking like, no, that is not a tool check. Tool check's about yay big, you know, has a flip open cap, a ratchet, bit ratchet, everything, you know, the bit hole driver on the side. This is not that. It's too small. Look at that box. Doesn't even cover up the Omega M. This is one of their new innovations. It is the Tool Check Modular. That's right, modular. Now, I guess I can spoil this because this kind of spoils that, but currently in life, I'm slammed in the real world. That's why it's nice for me to have videos from the wintertime and Halloween that I can still release right now. Because if I was a fly by the seat of my pants person, which I'm usually pressed for time, but I still force myself to do this stuff, you would have long lulls with no videos because I just don't have free time. This is busy season at work, and I was out. I actually kind of had a reprieve from actual work because I think I finally got the forklift gland nut situation straightened out. I won't go into that here, but maybe some other time. But bottom line, I do have this, and I've never made a video on it. And you're like, it's a tool check, buddy. Yeah, this is from the Advent calendar. Some of you are like, oh, I knew that thing looked familiar. And if you kind of look at it just carefully, you'll maybe pick up on a few things. You're thinking, yeah, that's smaller. I don't remember that slot over there, and oh yeah, kind of that was the thing. Of course, you got salt and pepper shakers too, which is really cool. They're in a pouch right here, actually. Again, I've always had this on my agenda to make this video and a Stavilla Advent Calendar standalone video. Just haven't had time. I try to prioritize other things. It's not really pertinent anymore. It's hard to track down, so front loading this one. And the current price on this is $158.40. I went back in my emails because I was like, it's tool of the day, what was the price? And sadly, I guess it must refresh because it shows $158.40. I know I wouldn't have bought it on tool of the day for $158.40 because that's a regular price. I want to say it was around $110 to $120, which I think is kind of high. And again, I say all this knowing there's like a huge contingent of people that just love this thing, and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and let's modify it and make it even better and custom tailor it. There's a reason I've never bought one of these. And we'll possibly dabble into that. But trying to stick to the topic at hand, this is what we have. This is the metric iteration. There's several of these. There's an Imperial and there's a metric. I believe they're both 51 pieces. We'll get into the details on that here shortly. This gives you a rough idea of what you've got. You got some Hex Plus stuff. You've got free spin for this guy, which I'm actually maybe the most excited about that. You've got the Take It Easy Tool Finder, which that's a big upgrade. If you're thinking like, yeah, that does look like that bit of things you had there. If you've never seen those from Wera, think of the Hazet stuff I've shown you. It's just kind of the color coding and the size labelings and everything. That is kind of a feature here. This gives you a rough idea of the bits that you will be working with, and fear not, I've got you covered there. So this gives you an idea of just how dainty this thing can be, sort of. Because you've kind of got multiple things going on here. If I flip this back around, you're going to see a piece here that looks roughly like what I showed you. You know, this little advent calendar gem. So if you're familiar with this, you're kind of on your way here. Then there is this, which I'm honestly, I think, the most excited about. That would tie in with your precision driver. And then you've got L keys. And they just clip onto the side, so it's like Wera was probably inspired by some of the stuff we were doing, or you were doing, because I again didn't have this and wasn't doing it, or they might have just had this in the works all along. But it's kind of one of those things. How do you improve something cool? How do you make it better? Well, you got to cram more stuff in it, right? You know, somebody probably goes around. Now I will say, I think this would be fantastic, like kitchen drawer, desk drawer, office drawer. Kids move out to the dorm or an apartment complex type of a thing. I also think this would be really good to keep in like a motorcycle. I haven't had time to go out and make that dream a reality, so this is just kind of undersized for what I would want to do with my hobbies. But we're going to go ahead and open this thing up. Check it out. And you're thinking like, whoa, that thing is tiny. And, first thing first, let's just do the obvious. Let's get this guy over here from Adventville. Check this out, right? You're looking at it and you're like, hey, that's the exact same. You could totally see this better if we panned out, couldn't you? All right, this is the same footprint, you say, and yeah, it is. As I've often mentioned with German tool company advent calendars, this is across the board. Stahlvilla, Hazet, Gedor, Wera. You oftentimes sort of get a sneak peek or early access to something that's going to be releasing in the not too distant future, which can sometimes range from a couple of weeks to like a year later, right? But it's generally staged that way, and as you can see, where you thought, oh, that's just like some cool little gimmicky, it's actually kind of nice being this size. It's a better fitment for me. You're probably not sitting there thinking like, hey, you know, I'm going to be able to slide in a bunch of stuff down here and build out a set to my liking. You're just thinking like, cool, you know, smaller. And that worked for most people. Right off the bat, where you're thinking like, hey, it looks like I could jam another socket or two in there, you totally could. And in this case, they went down to a 7. So that's kind of it for this guy. I don't know if I want to take the time to compare it. Might have some unique bits in it, actually. But the real story here is not what you saw, similar to our advent calendar and the addition of a socket. It's this. You're thinking like, what's that hideous thing? Well, that hideous thing is actually very important because it does that. And you're thinking like, oh, so it's like a, okay, well, you know, I would like that sort of tripod easel type thing, but they have it oriented all wacky. It should have been vertical. I agree, but that's because that's not what that is for. It's to do this. And you're thinking like, whoa, where did that come from? Well, that was hiding in the back this entire time. That's right, behind this, attached to it, are the hex keys and the micro set. And that, to me, is kind of the draw. Now, right here, this is terrible. I think it does nest somehow. Yeah, you can flatten it out. Hopefully you can tell, like, this is in the same plane now, so you're home free. You can lay it flat. It doesn't have to sit up like a egregious eyesore, right? I should say, well, before I toss this off to the side, we did get the sticker. Thank you, Wera. You did get a little information. I'm hoping this is actually what they suggest to do to take this thing apart. So you can see right there, you've got the bits going in, you've got the hinge cover coming off, you've got the adapter going in, yada yada yada. You get the idea. Now, some of your minds are already racing, and I'll go there for you. I could conceivably take these L keys off, put another adapter, put a hinge, and attach another tool check piece, right? As long as you keep it symmetrical in size, it's going to fold cleanly. Not that it would have to. I mean, you could totally have this like stop short of that, and it's fine. You know, it might bother you, it might not. But these are kind of modular. That's where the modular comes from, right? You decide what to attach to it and what to put on. If you're like, that's stupid, these little L keys, I don't need that in my life, toss them, you know? And if you're thinking like, hey, you know, I would kind of like SAE sockets, you know, I could haul this around work and, you know, fix the little machines, clip that on the end, right? So there are hinges and adapters available for this thing. I don't know what kind of detail we're going to go into. I started to buy this stuff out and build it out, and then I thought, I don't know if I want to, because there's a reason I held out from ever purchasing a tool check, and I've had lots of requests for it. I mean, we've been doing this for years. You know, I mean, this is like, if I numbered this one, this is like KC Tool Haul 130 or something, okay? That's a lot of time. That's a lot of tool hauls, and you're thinking, you seriously never bought a Tool Check Plus? No. And I'll tell you right now, the one that intrigued me the most is Hazet. They came out with one. I think that's still kind of under the radar. I'm not sure that thing would not obliterate this, at least in my opinion, but again, I say that as someone knowing this has a huge, huge following of loyal fans. So basically what we have here, this is labeled Modular 1. It's quarter drive. You've got 7, 8, 10, and 13. Do with that what you will. You cannot probably add it. You probably could. As long as it's smaller. I don't know that we could fit a 14 in there. But if you ripped a clip or got another clip from something else, you could probably fit another socket should you want to do that. It could be as simple as, oh, you know, I needed a 12 point, or man, you know, if I could get like a 9/16 or a 3/8 in there, or, you know, 7/16 or an 11 so I can use quarter 20 and cross over. Little bit of leeway there. This right here, if you do not have the advent calendar, it is pretty nice, the 815/1. To get this out, you've got that, and it just ejects. It's magnetic hold only, but note the form factor. This is one of those things, a lot of people are like, "Ah, that's really small and dainty," and yes, I agree. I would not ever, under any circumstance, want this to be my only bit driver. However, the compact size is very nice for certain things, and you're thinking, yeah, weight savings and, you know, access on my, you know, dirt bike, or when I go overlanding or something. Breaking this down to an even more basic thing, think of like a towel rack, right? Where the screws hopefully down, because it looks hideous when they face up. I've had installers, I've had to go fix that. The finish out people, it's like, why would you do that? Maybe you don't have precision drivers, right? And so something like this will oftentimes clear and allow you to tighten those little tiny set screws. You also may not even be able to use this for that, because it only came with one slotted bit though. However, in the event of this one, we have that gem over there. But sticking to this, okay, you crack this open and you're thinking like, hey, wait, there's supposed to be a bit ratchet and a wrap adapter type of a thing up here. On a tool check, or a tool check plus of yesteryear, full size, you betcha. In the modular one, no. And you're thinking like, well, idiots, how am I supposed to use these sockets with that? And you're like, I need a rat. And you're like, wait, what's that thing? You're like, oh, yeah, this is cool. You know, why does no one else do this stuff? Well, this basically turns your handle into a ratchet. Now, it's not the most sturdy or you know, reassuring thing you could do, but it's compact, it's cool, and it's going to get the job done if it's appropriately sized, right? We're not going to want to come in and torque something to 60 foot-pounds with this, even though you have a 13mm socket. You're going to put a lot of strain on this guy. Now, will it do it? I don't know. Maybe it will. But selector switch, bit ratchet. You do have the spinner on the back, which is nice. And you're thinking like, okay, but still, this is a problem because I need to be able to get these sockets on and there's no square drive. Well, this in the back corner is actually going to take care of that for us. So we plug this in and we'll just rip off the tin to be totally cliche. There you go. You can now turn your 10mm headed socket or bolt, right? Fasteners. Take them off, install them, whatever you got to do. What's the, hey, I'm impressed. I figured the socket would rip the whole thing out. Let's actually line up the detent here and see now. I'm going to fully seat it, just to be fair. Okay, that time it did. First time I didn't have this lined up, so again, your pinhole, I'm going to rotate. Let's stick this back in again. It is seated as best I can. So do with that what you will. But does come with the socket adapter. So that's it. That's literally your setup. This, you got to admit, this is really cool, and you're probably thinking like, hey, can I use that with any bit holder? And, let me see what I can do for you. I know we've got where is that one? Dadgum, did I move it? I'm in the process of relocating a whole lot of stuff. But to answer your question, yes, this absolutely will work with other bit holders. What did I do with the micro finish? Is it? Oh, that's not it. There we go. I got a 3K. Even better. So this guy right here, this is a good old-fashioned 3K handle. There you go. You need an extended length. You want to get some real leverage on that 8mm. There you go. Get you two. This is a 125, but I mean, picture your 200mm. Sky is the limit. Again, when will this grenade? I don't know. Some of you may be able to answer that in the comments section. So that's your ratchet now, right? Sort of compact, integral. It does take up a bit slot, but let's say that we need to turn a number 2 Phillips. How do I know this is a number 2 Phillips? It's the Take It Easy tool finder. It's red. It's got a 2, so I know what it is. I can come in and do this. You're thinking like, yeah, you know, I kind of like that. You know, if the handle is going to be an issue, even though it's small and compact, you know, like that longer bit gives me access. What's the deal with the bit? This is a 50 millimeter, all right? Now, keep in mind, this is Imperial, but you do get a number 1 and a number 2 Phillips. This, however, you're like, whoa, that's like half the size, man. Absolutely, this is exactly half the size. It is a standard size 25 millimeter bit. Think of that as quarter for those of you that like to use the proper measuring system. But right here, that's going to tuck in, and you're like, huh, that's like really in there, though. I don't know that I like that. That is where this would come in, sort of like your happy medium between these, all right? We take this, take that. This is all magnetic. There's no, like, let me make sure I'm not lying to you. This does have a spring in this one, the little adapter, so that's kind of cool. It's also a pain to get seated. But yeah, basically imagine, if you will, there you go. We probably jumped up to like 70 millimeters or something, all right? So that is what we're set with here, okay? Now, this might be of interest to some of you if you're like, man, if I could just take my tool check and put L keys with it, I'd be set. It's like the perfect thing for me. Again, think especially you're out and you like mountain bike, or you do something competitive, or you're in a race or type of a thing, or you're just off-roading joyously through the forest and you throw a chain, or you're like, man, my brake just wigged out, caught it on a branch. These might be of great value to you, right? So what you have here is a fairly decent selection of L keys. We'll cover all these sizes here in a second. But this thing right here is really, to me, what's like, ooh, that's kind of cool. So when we click this back, I'm going to pull this out. This is something you don't often see. This is a precision screwdriver. I've got a chip lifter over here. Chip lifter / mini pry bar. You can see it's kind of smaller, but it's got the spin cap, right? Just like this one. And what it's got is that. And you're thinking like, oh, this is like your little VIT driver thing that takes these bits, right? Well, plug it in and yeah, that's going to be a really good length. I can't, but that's because these are sized appropriately. So if we come in and we grab this, we got the 000 Phillips. Check this out. How nice would it be for people who do not want dedicated, precision drivers? I'm a huge fan of having a standalone tool for everything. I think it looks cool. I enjoy it, right? Granted, like, how many do you really need? Depends what you're doing. Probably, small Phillips gets most people. Maybe, you like do some weird electronic stuff. You know exactly what you need. For people that are just, I don't know what I'm going to need, this is kind of not a bad setup, especially when you consider you could expand out and get additional bits, right? So, to me, this little gem here is kind of maybe the coolest thing of this whole kit. Again, I might catch some heat for that. Maybe some of you agree with me, but I think that thing is actually pretty sweet. Now, sadly, with this setup, you're only limited to 12 bits, but hopefully someone from Wera sees this. If you took this form factor and just expanded it a little bit to this size, put your driver down here on the side, whatever, imagine how many precision bits a guy could fit across here. I'm thinking like you could probably have easily 24 to 30, and that's going to cover a whole lot of bases. And then instead of having just like millions of these sitting in cool stands somewhere, which I'm a big fan of, you could just have that in your desk drawer. You could have that in the kitchen drawer, right? Kids' electronics breaks, your wife's battery needs to be replaced, whatever. You just bust this thing out, and then you keep your precision drivers out in the shop or the garage or whatever, and you've got a pretty comprehensive set that you can custom tailor to what you want to do. I think that's a win, and I really think this is something they should consider doing. And you could even, set this thing up with like a kickstand or something cool. Now hold up. Oh, I was like, what's that thing doing back there? Well, check this out. There's actually not just 12 bits. There is this. Swing. All right. This is even better. Now, keep in mind, though, if we took my original idea and populated that thing and just had this as like a kickstand or stand or something, that'd be super cool. So, yeah, there are additional bits. I thought, I was like, man, 51 pieces, I'm not seeing it. But yeah, so you've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 16, 20. And you got the little latch. Now, I'm not gonna lie, one of the things that always scared me away from these tool checks is the plastic. I value plastic for what it is: lightweight, inexpensive, flexible, right? But in something like this, where you're constantly in and out, like this tab and this thing that seals it and the ratchet sliding in and out and a hinge, I just, it's 91 outside right now, right? I got absolutely baked on caliche working on the forklift the other day. I could pass for red right now, right? At least, neck, heads, arms, everything. Plastic, it sits in heat, it sits in cold, it flexes, it expands like door jambs, right? How long does it hold up? I don't know, because again, if I'd have bought a tool check when I started this channel, I'd have like 7-8 years with it, or at least started doing the tool stuff, right? And I could be like, man, I really like that thing, but it cracked, or man, I was in and out of it so much, the hinge came off and I can't fix it, I can't get the tab back on. Or I could be like, you know what, I've used this thing a ton, it's been abused, neglected, and it is still rocking. I cannot tell you that from first-hand experience, because this is my first one. So what I want to know from you, the tool check fans, how do they hold up? And I'm not talking, modular, just in general. Like if you got a tool check from 2016, what's that thing doing? You watch German tool reviews like 8 years ago and you're like, that's the coolest thing ever. And you went out and you bought Imperial, metric, everything in between, bits only. And you got them at work, in your truck, back seat, a toolbox, the bed of your truck, that you thought you lost, but it turns out it just sat there, exposed to the elements and the heat. How have the cases held up? That's where you come in, because again, I can't provide good information there. It would all be speculation. Just generally speaking, if it's plastic, to me, it will fail. It's just a question of when. All right. That said, this does seem to be, and I can't compare this to a regular one because we don't have it, there's like a lot, it's kind of soft, right? So you sort of think maybe it'll have like a better life cycle. I don't know what happens when it's exposed to heat or the elements or chemicals, no clue. But that's what we've got, and somehow we covered that in pretty fast time by my standards. But what I want to do is walk you through something, because I took the time. I took all that time to do this. I'm gonna bend this down for you. What is this, you say? This was me figuring out what the difference is between metric and imperial, because there's something really stupid. This is the metric. You're probably thinking like, hey, yeah, I thought this guy would have bought SAE. Typically I would. Here's why I didn't. That. Specifically that, right? That's kind of like a halfway between. You're like, what are you pointing to, moron? The L keys. When you buy the SAE set, one would logically assume, right, these metric L keys, if you're curious about the sizes of them, we haven't covered the bits yet. We're going to start doing that now, I guess, in this segue. But these L keys, you're going to have a setup of 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, and the biggest one will be a 6. That's cool. I actually use some of those dinky things for like headlight adjustments and stuff, right, on LED bulbs, retrofits. But if I buy SAE and I've got, this is another difference, so your 7, 8, 10, and 13, your SAE 3/8, 7/16, half, 9/16. That's actually a really solid assortment. That's like the bread and butter for most people. And you're like, well, I wish it had 3/4. Look what you'd be driving it with. Okay, 9/16, that covers your 3/8 hardware. 1/2 inch, that covers your 5/16 stuff. 7/16, we're covering quarter. That alone, plus 3/8 is that rare underdog smaller stuff. That's a pretty sweet setup right there for just 4 sockets. So we've got that difference. But where you would think, yeah, if they did 3/8 and 9/16, what do they have over here? Like up through quarter, or maybe 3/8 even. No, you know what the Imperial Modular Tool Check SAE gets? It gets the same freaking metric keys. Make it make sense. I can't figure it out for the life of me. That's why I was kind of relieved when the metric one became tool of the day. Number one, I had no that I can think of. Maybe we do somewhere in an advent calendar. I had to time that out there at 30 minutes, but I have way more Imperial Wera sockets than metric, I should say. So this was kind of nice, and then this makes sense. It's metric. SAE or Imperial Tool Check gets this. Now, metric or SAE, you get metric L keys. Metric or SAE, this set is exactly the same. Again, I'm going by what KC Tool has on their website, which was probably pulled from Wera's listings. Same thing, different sockets, slightly different bits. I'm going to try to walk you through this. Metric gets a Posi 1 at 25 millimeters and a Posi 2 at 25 millimeters. SAE gets no Posis. Metric does not have a square bit. SAE version has 50 millimeter square 1, square 2. Phillips is actually in this kit. I pulled both of them out and it confirms what my notes say. You get a 25 millimeter, okay, number 1 Phillips. You get a 50 millimeter number 2 Phillips. In the SAE iteration, you're going to get Phillips 1 and Phillips 2, both 50 millimeter, no 25s. Keep in mind, you're thinking like, man, they should have totally had 25s and 50s and vice versa on the Posi. I think it's just the smaller form factor dictating that, but it is kind of strange. Torques. Metric, you're going to get 25 millimeter bits, 10 and 15. 20 and 25 are going to be the tall 50 millimeter bits. Whereas Imperial, you get all 25 millimeter bits, 10, 15, 20, and 25. Hex bits are actually inside here. 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the metric set. SAE, 3 30-seconds, 1/8, 5 30-seconds, and 3 16ths. So most of it kind of overlaps. Square versus Posi is completely different. Torx links are different, and your hex bits are different. These are the same. Alright, so I've got some videos I haven't made, and I just went and canned a clip at the start in hopes that it's not a corrupt file from the beginning. And I got 5.5 minutes here, so I think that's where I'm going to call it, because again, my first impression, I've never had this, don't really know what to expect from it. I know there's huge followings. I've walked you through the difference between SAE and Imperial, which is very subtle. The biggest mind-blowing thing is just this. I'm ignoring the bit contents in here, but just like not getting SAE L keys is bizarre to me. Also, these are just standard, they're not Hex Plus as far as I know. Interestingly, the bits, which back here in blue, 3, 4, and 5, and I guess this is a 6 that doesn't get a Take It Easy tool finder, or is it a 50? No. Interesting, it doesn't get a Take It Easy tool finder. That's odd, and kind of sucks actually. But 3, 4, 5, and 6, those are Hex Plus. The SAE are also Hex Plus for those 4 bits. Kind of the weird thing, especially in SAE, this is your only slotted bit. It seems like we would have gotten another size or 2 above and below, but it is what it is. It looks like your 50 mils in the front, your 25s are in the back, at least in this one. That's it. That's all I got for you. Again, shockingly, I know, never had a tool check from Wera outside of this little guy, which granted, you know, it sits here. I think I've used it like a couple times, nothing crazy, and it's been in the shop the entire time. So that was a little teaser into this, right? So again, if you're ever curious, if you like see Wera's advent calendar later this year and you're like, man, that would be really cool, they should make that. Well, they're probably going to, and it'll probably be out like mid-year or fall type of a thing of the following year. So keep your eyes open, your ears peeled, and you never know what might come through. With that said, I do definitely see the appeal of this. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact. You're adding L keys, you're adding the precision stuff. I want to stress right now, if you're like, okay, that precision thing is killer, I think it'd be great, like he said, for a benchtop application, but I'd like to have the SAE set over here. Guess what you can do? You can rip this thing apart, and you can put an SAE thing over here. You can take the L keys off. Okay, it's sort of just that modular design where you, the end user, can custom tailor it to your likings. So If you wanted to swap the bits completely, now the sockets, you do have nice printing here, you know, so it is pre-labeled, but in terms of the bits, if you're like, hey, I want this whole thing to be Torx, I'm going to join another one up that I want that whole thing to be Phillips, and I want to put a third one together, and you can do that. Okay, and again, I could make that happen for you, but I wanted to feel this out before I heavily invest in it. The other thing I want to say is, if you're thinking like, hey, wait, I'm actually totally content with this thing, okay? Like, I don't need the 7, but I really want that, and if I could somehow attach this to that, you can, okay? There's an adapter that slides here. You can put the hinge, you go to town. If you just want a flat lay, you can do that. Play around with it, check it out. If you want to see me do some of that crud, you know, just proof of concept or something, let me know. But again, you could literally have bought this on Tool of the Day and then go buy the SAE one and string this all together. The part number for the adapter, 9549. Part number for a hinge, 9550. The adapter is just tucked in there, kind of between them. I don't want this to time out on me. I was actually going to tear this down, but since I haven't made those videos, I'm a little bit leery to do it because they're really long ones. They're like 2 50-minute videos, and if I delete the footage here, even though I've copied it already, if any of that turned out to be corrupted, I would be an idiot. So I'm going to leave it at that. And again, I'll play with this, I'll tear it down, I'll combine weird stuff if you want me to. But it's kind of cool, it's very compact. I assure you, if I ever get free time in life to like go pick up a motorcycle, this would be something I would keep, and it would have big value to me because you're packing a lot in a tiny space. It's also quite lightweight for what it is. What I want to know from you is your thoughts, especially if you're a Tool Check Plus person from yesteryear. What do you think of the modular? Is this answering all of your prayers, hopes, and dreams? Or you're like, I see what they're doing there, I think I'll stick with the Tool Check Plus. Are you going to go out and purchase component, and just string together 6 foot of Wera greatness? Whatever it might be, let me know. Again, this guy right here, I would love to see that expanded, maybe even to full Tool Check size. Just every bit you could throw at somebody, precision style, make it a reality, maybe even different length handles. Lots of potential there. Can't deny this is cool, functional. For me and what I do, old cars, cruising, racing, this is sort of like more kitchen drawer, or again, motorsport type of a thing. Maybe go-karting, this would be good. But it is pretty neat, you cannot deny that. It is pricey in my opinion. And again, who knows, maybe a week after this there was another Wera Tool Check on Tool of the Day that I might have just bought to do a comparison with, right? I don't know, we'll have to see. But if you have this, if you're a Tool Check person, if you just seeing this, what are your thoughts, initial reactions, your plans, your end goals? What would you like to see beyond this? If you ran out of time there and had to go delete something else, it hopefully doesn't come back to haunt me. But where I was at, basically, what would you do beyond this? If you're like, man, Wera, just everything I wanted, but this would make it even better. What is it? Is it a different hinge system, a more compact hinge? Just adapters only, some folding, whatever your thoughts are, throw them down below. Who knows, maybe Wera will see this and be like, hey, you know, that Stan guy in the comments actually had a really good idea, let's steal it from him and make it a reality. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of play around with it again, especially this. Just if you ripped everything off of that, look, it's like a Tic Tac, right? I keep some Terminators over here. It's barely bigger than that bit pack, and you got all those different bits for a precision driver, which again, you've either got people that want something like this because it's like, oh, it's all in one and I'm done, or you've got people like me that are like, wow, you know, I'd like to get all 200 precision drivers I might need. And this is definitely far more efficient in terms of the form factor. It's also easier to lug around. That's one of the big perks, sort of like a zippered portfolio thing for your precision drivers. But your thoughts, leave them down below, let me know. Again, you might be seeing this compared to something here shortly. Might keep that one standard, I don't know. If you do want to see crazy stuff done with this, tell me, I'll try to make it happen. But I do, assuming I get time in life to edit and upload this thing. The internet's been crawling, it gets worse in the summer. That's weird, tell me. But if you want to see crazy stuff done with it, I'll try to accommodate what you want. And until then, hope you enjoyed, hope you learned a little something. Again, if you picked this up on Tool of the Day, you've had it now, what, probably 2 weeks like me if you got in early before it sold out. How are you liking it? Just your first initial impressions there. And again, veteran tool check people, feel free to sound off. But with that said, I will quit rambling. I got to get inside because it's 20 minutes till game time, and excited. Game 7. Best 2 words in sports, some people say. But, with that said, I'm not too hot, so I'm going to take advantage of that, get inside, have supper ready, and hopefully enjoy the game. I think there's also storms coming, so I'll probably get knocked out of showering if I don't go at halftime or something, but we'll see. With that said, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a little something. Most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop.